Martin Short's car lapping not quite as quickly, 3-minute 50.9 on his last lap to 3:37.6 for Manuel Collard. Collard is really fired up, desperately disappointed at losing that place to Sebastian Bourdais' Peugeot after being tripped up in traffic about half an hour or so ago. And Martin Short, he would admit, is not going to be much of a challenge to Manuel Collard, I would think. So Collard has put him, how many now, laps behind? No, he's still 7 laps behind.
Yeah,
but in fact, he's brought himself back into that position because Collard would have dropped behind Martin Short and given away one of those laps after that incident.
Yeah, Martin Short is very much the slower of the 3 drivers in this number 18 Pescarolo there. And he's going around in like 3 minutes 50 seconds, with the rest are doing 3 minutes under 3 minutes 40, so he's losing 10 seconds a lap. Whatever happens, but he must have spent a little bit of time in the pits because he's, as you said, Martin, some 7 laps now behind the number 16 Pescarolo. So 2 Audis, 2 Peugeots, 2 Pescarolos before we hit the GT1 cars. And that floor on the front of 007, if I remember last year, that's the problem they had last year. It was all to do with the front floor and the nose section, and that's where it all suddenly went wrong, and they had to come in and do work on that, and that's where Corvette suddenly said, thank you very much, we'll take that, and walked away with it. And it looks like 007 got a problem this year on the Corvette. Very soon we'll be past it and into second place, and then it's only got 009 to worry about before it walks off yet again with the winner's prize.
At almost exactly 8 hours left to go in the race. We're just a few seconds away from 7 in the morning. Don't forget the race finishes unusually early, 1500. That's 3 p.m. Central European time.
And you'll have noticed Neville's
007 is coming back out of the garage, so the work has been done. 009 leaves the apron, and we will see 007 coming back out in a minute. And Diana is still hovering to get a word with somebody once the job has been completed, but obviously now is not the time to be in the midst of the garage. Look at the amount of tape on the nose. You're watching the pictures of 009 leaving. David Leslie, we're looking out of the window, and the nose is quite heavily taped as well. And the rear end, no, that's just shine, isn't it? In comes Peugeot number 8. The rear end is looking like it's taken a little bit of punishment as well. So was there an incident that we haven't been privy to, I wonder, that brought all this about?
The number 8 Bourdais in for a quick clean of the windscreen and refuel. They haven't even brought the tyres out this time to put them on the outside of the car, thinking about it. They're not thinking about that whatsoever. Maybe a little bit of fresh air for the driver, yes. Close the door down, start it up, and off it goes. Didn't lift it or anything, so that's a really good turnaround. Peugeot, I have to say, are doing extremely well here. They're being in 3rd and 4th. Yes, we know they're a little bit down, 8 laps and 10 laps down, but very few people thought they would even see the morning, never mind still be a very strong and running extremely well 3rd and 4th place in the 24 hours here.
I think that's absolutely right. A lot of people were saying, yeah, I'll give them 2 hours, I'll give them 4 hours. Nobody said I'll give them 12 hours. And I don't think anybody would have expected both cars to make it to the finish in 3rd and 4th positions, and they still may not. There are still 8 hours remaining in this race. It's only 7 in the morning, but I think one of the cars has got a very good chance of ending up on the podium, unless something catastrophic happens internally, and it's likely to be internally, unless the rain sweeps in. Then I think they've got a good chance.
I think the real thing here, Martin, is that 8 and 10 laps down. That's the big thing about the Peugeot, is that if they were going to be running still at this hour of the morning, we'd have thought they'd have been higher up. But as you said, with problems through the night, it's the problems that Audis have got sorted out over the last 8 years they're coming. This is still Peugeot's first year.
And Nicolas Manassian has just set the fastest lap of the race for a Peugeot. Marc Genet looking a little pensive in the Peugeot garage. Nicolas Manassian's last lap was the fastest for Peugeot number 7. Not the fastest for either Peugeot, because Bourdais' car number 8 has been lapping quicker as they played catch-up. But Peugeot still 3rd and 4th to Audi's 1, 2. Dindo Capello leading Frank Bieler. And in the classes, still Aston Martin leading. Ricard Rydell now in 009 that he's taken over the Aston Martin Racing DBR9 from Darren Turner. But Ron Fellows in the 63 CompuAir Corvette is now second in GT1 ahead of Johnny Herbert. And these cars 7th, 8th and 9th overall. 10th, 11th and 12th overall are also GT1 cars. 4th in GT1 is the 008 Aston Martin DBR9. That is the Labra competition car. 11th place and 5th in GT1 is Jean-Philippe Belloc's Orica Run Celine, and then Matteo Malucelli's Aston Martin, the Pirelli Shod car, is 6th in the GT1 class. So David, perhaps a little surprised to see just how high up the order the GT1 cars have got, except of course for the fact that Ollie Gavin nearly made the overall podium line. In terms of laps he didn't, but he was 4th. It only needed one small disaster from somebody in front and he would have been not only the GT1 winning car but also overall 3rd position, which would be really quite a remarkable achievement.
The GT1s are very, very consistent, and they've always been right there. Speaking to an LMP2 owner last night, he was saying that in reality, the LMP1 guys, they've got worked cars in there and they're finishing regularly without any problems. The GT1 cars are the same. They've got factory cars out there. That's the Aston Martins. That's their Corvettes. Further down is the Celines, are the privateers, but they're down in 4th, 5th place in that race. But very consistent. And I said, well, why aren't the LMP2s there? He said, well, all the LMP2 guys are privateers. It's only one of the 4 classes that are here racing that are actually nothing but privateers, because in the GT2 category you've got the Ferraris and the Porsches, and some of those are work supported. They're not purely works teams, but certainly work supported teams, both for Ferrari and for Porsche, and certainly for Porsche. So he was saying that that was the reason that the LMP2s are always breaking down, because I was berating him for saying, you've got these lovely cars, but you can never get to the end of a 24-hour race without having some problem or another. And he was saying, well, that was the reason. The amount of money spent by the manufacturers does make a big difference. That development work to get the consistency and everything else, and the consistency in GT1 has always been very, very good indeed, because the Astons and their Corvettes really have fought tooth and nail with each other throughout the Le Mans series, and more so in the American Le Mans series, but certainly here at Le Mans itself. And it shows in the overall, as you said, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10, 11 and 12th are all the GT1 cars. That's it's a great gaggle of GT1 cars. After that, there's one LMP2, one LMP1 that had a problem. The number 15 car we thought was going to go extremely well when I left last night about midnight, unfortunately, because I was obviously had problems, and dropped down a bit. And then you got another couple of GT1s and following that up. So